Welcome to the Real and Real Estate Podcast, your go-to show for real estate success. Whether you're an agent aiming to crush it or a buyer or seller wanting the inside scoop, we're here to deliver expert advice, insider tips, and the real talk you need. Each episode, we chat with top industry pros to give you the facts, strategies, and inspiration you need to thrive in this business. Let's dive in and make big moves together. Hi, welcome back to the Real and Real Estate, and I'm here today with the wonderful Jennifer Larson, who's a very busy woman. Thank you for joining us, and we're going to talk about when's a good time to buy a home. Is this a good time to buy a home? So welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, thank you for doing this again. You've been a wonderful guest in the past, and I appreciate it. So everyone asks, what are the interest rates? Should I buy a house? Should I wait? What should I do? What kind of advice would you like to give them?
Yes. So right now the interest rates are fluctuating every day. So there is it is a buyer's market, just so you know, and there's a lot of inventory on the market as we speak. So even though the interest rates are not at 4%, they're in the mid sixes right now. You can get a better deal on the house. When they were at the threes and fours, there was so much competition. You were paying so over list for the house. So now it kind of evens itself out because yes, the interest rates are a little bit higher, but you can negotiate more on the house and you're not in as much competition.
Right, and I think last week the interest rate went down to 6.2, which is good. We're getting
Okay.
really close to that 5.9 number. I just want to be right under 6 or right at 6.
Yes.
We're getting closer, so that's good. But yeah, since we are in we're in a more balanced market right now.
Yeah.
We were so heavily into a seller's market, and now we're getting closer to just a full-on buyer's market, which I think is great for the buyers, obviously, because it's all about supply and demand. The more houses you have on the market, the more power the buyer has. The fewer houses you have on the market, the more power the seller has. So
Correct.
it's really not about the rate. Not to mention the fact that if they do go ahead and buy at what they think is a higher rate, excuse me, I'm loose, must be allergies. If they do buy at what they consider a higher rate, you can always refinance later down the road. When the interest rates drop to where you're more comfortable, then that's when you refinance. I remember when things got to 6%, everybody refinanced because the rates were around 8 or 8.5 at that time. So we're really in a pretty good shape right now. Do you
We
agree?
really are. I mean, there's so much inventory to choose from right now. So it's really wonderful for the buyer, for the consumer, because they have so many different choices. And the seller's market, it was like one or two houses maybe on the market, and a lot of people felt like they were overpaying for the house.
And they did, quite frankly. Many of them did. I, we get a report every week through HAR for those of you that have access to that, Houston Association of Realtors, and those that don't. And every week I see more listings coming up and fewer closings, which means that's how we've shifted to this where it's advantageous to the buyers. And you don't want to miss out on your dream home thinking, oh, I'll just wait and get a higher interest rate. Well, you're not going to have the home that you wanted necessarily. So don't let that happen to your family. Go ahead and lock in your dream home, lock in the rate. You can always
Yeah,
refinance. I mean,
another
it will
great
take.
point, another great point is talking about your dream home. What if you can only afford a certain amount? And right now, you can afford your dream home. If you wait, there might be so much bidding war, you're not even able to afford it, or you miss out on your dream home.
Exactly, exactly. And another thing too, in fact, I was talking to someone the other day, a younger person, younger than me. I think he was in his late 20s, early 30s. I'm not somewhere in that area. And he's still renting. And he was talking about wanting to buy a home and waiting. And I was talking to him about equity. All you're doing is putting money in your landlord's pocket instead of in your pocket. If you buy now, you're going to go ahead and start building equity. And there are very few things in the world that you can invest your money in that is as good and solid an investment as real estate. That's my opinion. What do you think, Jennifer?
Yes, I agree. I think real estate is one of the best investments you can ever make. And long term, it's just going to go up in value.
Yes, yes. Of course, you've got to buy smart, but
Yeah.
that's what your realtor's supposed to help you do, right?
Absolutely. We make sure to have a CMA, which is a comparative market analysis, before we put an offer on a home. We look at the market conditions and we make sure to do the right price. But that goes back to another thing. When it's a seller's market, you feel like you're overpaying, and you might be overpaying. I mean, the house might not even appraise. And so when you go to sell it later, it could be a little bit of an issue, or you might be losing money. So that's another reason to buy in a buyer's market versus waiting for the interest rates to go down and buy in a seller's market.
And there are tax advantages to owning a home too. For instance, we get homestead exemptions, and depending on, there are other homestead exemptions you can qualify for, senior exemptions, military, VA, disabled veteran. I mean, there's all kinds of different ways to get an exemption on your taxes, so that lowers your taxes as well.
Yeah, and I do specialize in the military, so I'm very versed in that, and I do know a lot about the military. I also have gotten a certification in the military. I had to take some classes and pass a test to get my certification. And I can tell you, if you're 100% disabled in Houston, Texas, you don't pay any property taxes, which is amazing. And
That is amazing.
and not everywhere in the United States offers that. So a lot of people that are military are coming here, and you do 0% down. And on top of that, you can ask the seller for closing costs. So you can literally come to closing with no money down, except just your earnest money and option, but you get that back at closing as well.
That's amazing. Yes, I remember you telling me you got that designation. So anyone
Yes.
out there listening that knows a veteran, please refer them to Jennifer. She's got the facts. And it is a different animal because there are so many things that they can qualify for, and they should. I mean, they look what they did for us. They should absolutely get benefits for that. Another thing I was talking to that young gentleman about the other day is he's waiting because he wants to spend, like, he wants a $500,000 house. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe we should reassess our values here. You want to buy a house, you want to get equity, you want to get a tax advantage. Maybe you don't need to wait for that dream home. Maybe you need to get what they call a starter home. There are a lot of great homes out there under $500,000.
Yes, so that's a great point because, some people are like, well, I really just want to get that, five, 600, even $1 million home. And I feel like I have to wait. And that's not the case. You can put down as little as 3% on a conventional loan.
Yes.
And then like VA is 0% and FHA is 3.5%. So you don't need to be waiting to save 20% to buy a house. And again, you can do a starter home and then build up. When my husband and I were starting, I bought my home very young. I'm on my fifth home. And now I'm in close to my dream home. I don't know if it's 100% my dream home, but the other thing is most people sell every 5 years. That's just been a trend. So, you buy your first home for, like, let's say 200,000, then your second home can be like double that, like 400,000, and then 600, and then all the way up to 1 million. And you can start as low as like 250,000 and then just build your way up. And the equity you got from each home, you just use that towards the next home.
Right. You're just building a future. You're building wealth. It's not just about the equity. Equity leads to building wealth. Again, buy smart, talk to your realtor, listen to your realtor. But yeah, absolutely. There's no reason that you should feel like you have to start out at the top. And I've done several different podcasts with different lenders talking about down payment assistance and grants. Like, I just want to reiterate what you said. You do not necessarily need 20% down in order to purchase a home. Don't wait. And now, time for a short break.
Ready to jumpstart your social media strategy? I'm Katie Lance, and the Get Social Smart Academy is your go-to for smarter content planning. Get weekly trainings, Canva templates, and AI tools to save time and grow your business. Go to katielance.com/academy to join us today.
Correct. Yeah, that's the best advice I can give because people feel like they have to wait. And that's not the case. And yes, you do have a little bit more responsibility when you own a home versus renting. But like you said, you're throwing your money away. You could be building equity. You could, be building a life for yourself. And rents have gone up
Future.
so much. Yeah, rents have
Yes,
gone up
they have.
so much that it is almost cheaper to buy a home than rent a home right now.
I know, isn't that crazy? Yeah,
Mhm.
you're built. Yes, you're building wealth. You're building a future. And why would you pay $2,000 a month on a rental when you're paying 1,800 on your mortgage? I don't know. It depends on what you buy. But yes, there's absolute a difference.
Yeah, exactly. And, I mean, 2000 doesn't even get you that far in rent these days, to be
No, they
honest.
don't. Probably a one bedroom nowadays.
Yes, 1 to 2 bedrooms.
Yeah,
And with the house, for the same amount, you can get like a 3 or even a 4 bedroom with 2 baths, and you get a yard. You could have a yard, and some places don't even have HOAs. If you buy like near the Heights or an Oak Forest or somewhere around that, you don't even have to pay an HOA fee as well.
yeah, which is wonderful. And even if you do, some of them are very low, so it's not anything to, it could be $700 a year, but
Yes.
you can plan for that. That all works out. Well, what other advice would you have for someone that possibly is renting now and just is afraid to take that leap? I mean, I think they should start by talking to a competent realtor and a competent lender and find out there's so much out there they don't know. They might be ready to buy. Do you agree?
Yes, so I'm very big on educating people. I think education is like the number one thing that we need to be doing with our clients.
Yes, I
They don't
agree.
understand the process. They don't understand what's going on. And so when you sit down and guide them, I have a great buyer's guide that I have that I give to buyers. And it also goes over all the different terms. What's earnest money? What's option money? What's a title commitment? So when they go to buy, they are already pretty educated on what it's going to take to buy a home because sometimes some realtors don't tell their clients that they need to put earnest money down, 1%, and that they have option money and then they have an appraisal and they have a survey and people are like, what? Like, I didn't know I had to pay for all this. So it's great to get them educated before so they can make the
Mm.
best decision because wasting an agent's time during the option and saying, no, I changed my mind. I mean, that's a waste of our time. That's a waste of their time. And, they have to pay for an inspection. Usually they pay for an inspection and the inspection, costs money as well. But I just go through all those fees with people up front so they know what they're getting themselves into. And then I really think a really good realtor knows how to dissect an inspection and say like, look, you don't need to throw the whole inspection in this person's face. This is the important things that need to be fixed. And then the other
Yes.
stuff can be fixed later. Inspectors are like Inspector Gadget. So I tell them that before when I meet them. Inspectors are like Inspector Gadget. They want you to feel like you got your money's worth. So they're gonna do all the preventions, all the small items, everything. The biggest things you just want safety hazard and want to make sure everything works. And so
Right. The
those are,
bones of the house need to be good.
yeah, the bones of the house. Absolutely. But, you don't need to fix every little thing on an inspection report. That's not necessary.
No, you don't. I have to tell what I consider a funny story real quick. One listing I had, of course, the buyer sent a list of things that they wanted, and we said yes or no or whatever. But one of them was there was an outside light by the back door. It wasn't working. Now, an inspector will not change a light bulb or tell you why it's not working. They will just tell you it doesn't work. You need to get an electrician, et cetera, et cetera. And it was a burned out bulb. So I told my clients, I said, you know what? Just tell them you'll fix that. Don't worry about it. I'll go to Home Depot, buy the bulb myself. But the inspector kind of blew it out of proportion. And especially if you're a new home buyer or a first time buyer,
Yeah.
I mean, it is overwhelming. I remember the first time I bought a home, it was overwhelming. And I wasn't a realtor yet. So I'm a little less scared now. But at the time, it was just way too much. And yes, you've got to have someone there that's going to balance out what the inspector is trying to tell you and tell you what is important and what isn't and what was a code yesterday may not be a code today. So don't panic over it. It was fine yesterday. It's probably fine today, but they have to tell you. You hire them to tell you every single thing that could possibly be wrong with that house. That's their job. And then you have to figure out, as you said, what matters and what doesn't.
Yes, absolutely. Because it's really important to make sure, like my last deal, like my last listing, the buyer threw the whole inspection in our face.
Oh, yeah.
It was
Crazy.
so disrespectful. And I even told the agent, I said, this is very disrespectful. This is not going to make my client want to fix anything for you. But then they came back and then they just did a small list or whatever. But
Right. A
then
little more
the buyer
reasonable.
decided to back out anyways and had no
Ah,
reason. He got so nervous and so scared, he just backed out of the whole deal. So we're back on the market and looking for a new buyer. But I mean, I told the agent, I said, you need to have your client buy new construction because that's the only way you're going to get every little thing on the
right.
inspection fixed. And I mean, it was a
And
lot of little stuff.
And then what frustrates me, I know that we didn't start out talking about inspections, but what frustrates me is people think, oh, I'm buying a new home, I don't need to get an inspection. Yes, you do. It's built by humans. Humans make mistakes. Humans take shortcuts. You've still got to get that home inspected.
And you want to make sure you get it home inspected by a third, like by your realtor's recommendation or a third party. You do not want to
Yes.
do it by one of the builders or builders associates inspectors because they don't have your
No,
best at heart.
no, 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 no. You've got to have an outside party do it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, I love the fact that education is so important to you. And I think it's important to everybody. That's one of the reasons I do this podcast. So people that either a new agent or someone buying or selling a home hears from the experts, hears from people that actually do this. And I have had inspectors on my podcast before, and they're saying the same thing you did. Educate your client. Don't make them panic. Don't over excite them about it. Just be very factual, very much to the point. Tell them what's important. And then, of course, they have to decide for themselves. But
Yes, absolutely. But, I mean, as long as we are educating our clients every aspect of the way, there's nothing that it makes them feel that, first of all, it makes them trust you. And second of
yes,
all, it makes them feel more comfortable. That's just really important to me because I'm not a transactional realtor. There are two types of realtors. There's transactional
yes.
realtor and then referral realtor. And I'm definitely a long-term referral realtor. Like I want to build a relationship with you. I don't want it just to be this one deal. So I want to make sure you're happy the whole way through and I want to give you the best experience I can because I know all realtors don't have a very good reputation.
Some of them do not, absolutely. And that's another reason for education. I know I always tell my agents this is not a one and done profession. This is a
Right.
relationship profession, and you need to follow just because, okay, sold it, got my check, I'm never going to talk to them again. No, that's not the way the business works.
Mhm.
That is not what we want to do. These are people that you will be able to do business with in the future. And quite frankly, I've made quite a few close friends. I mean, that
So
didn't happen. I mean, that wasn't my goal, but that's the way it happened. And we get together for lunch and happy hour and holidays. And I love it. Just absolutely love my job.
yeah, me too. Me too. Me too. I have a psychology background, so I just love
Ah,
I love, analyzing everyone and making sure, because everyone has different personalities, so you want to make sure.
absolutely.
And you're also like a marriage therapist and you're their therapist. It's almost like dating in a way, if you think about it. Like you're
I hadn't thought
dating
of it.
the person. But because when you're dating someone, you're with them a lot and you tell them your secrets, you tell them, everything, and then kind of like the relationship's over afterwards, but it doesn't have to be over. I mean, it's
No,
your choice to but yeah, it's similar to dating. It really is if you think about it.
I had not thought about that. That's a great analogy. I love
Mhm.
it. All right, so bottom line, people, now is a good time to buy. It's really not about the interest rate. It's about the supply and demand. It's about finding the perfect home for you. And no, it does not have to be a $500,000 house for a starter. Please rethink that. Whatever you buy, it's an investment. It's equity in your pocket. It's you building wealth. And you may be in a position next time to rent out the first house and buy the second house, or you can roll the equity from one to another. There's all kinds of options. I think it's a lot safer bet than stocks and bonds in the stock market, but again, you need to be balanced, so maybe do a little bit of both. I'm not a financial advisor, but that's what they all tell me.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, you
all
should
right,
have your
well,
money diversified, in different things. So this is one safe bet in my opinion. I mean, I think everyone should be owning a home for sure.
absolutely. And buyers, get out there while there's a good supply, and sellers, don't let this scare you. There's still homes out there that are going for multiple offers. Just price your house correctly, make sure it's in good shape as best you can, make sure it looks good, and you're going to get a buyer. And buyers, you're going to find a better deal now than you did when it was 3% because there are a lot more homes to buy.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you, Jennifer. I really appreciate your time. And anyone out there that's a veteran, give Jennifer a call. She's
Mhm.
got the information. She'll be able to help you.
Or a first-time home buyer, also love to help them as well.
Well, absolutely. Anybody.
Mhm.
She's a wealth of knowledge and she's very dedicated to her clients. So thanks again, Jennifer. I know you're busy. I appreciate it. Talk to you
Yeah.
soon.
Thank you so much. You have a wonderful day.
Thank you for tuning in to the Real and Real Estate Podcast. I hope today's insights have inspired and empowered you. Don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, and share the podcast with anyone who might benefit. Have questions or a topic you'd like us to explore? We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, stay informed, stay inspired, and keep moving towards success.